I'm sitting here with Nathaniel Jones, and he's running for Olympia mayor. So, were you born in Olympia?
No, I wasn't. Actually, I was raised as a military kid, so I've lived on 3 continents. I've been all over the place. But I've been in Olympia since '91. I raised my family here.
What made you stay?
Oh, I love this place. The natural beauty is amazing. The schools were great for my kids, and the job opportunities for me and for my wife were really positive. So the other thing I'd say is the people. It's about the people. It's about the community.
So what profession did you and your wife both do, or separately, or?
Yeah, so my wife is a certified nurse midwife. She's a advanced nurse practitioner. She works at Kaiser Permanente, and she's delivered thousands of babies here in this community. I think she's got a bigger constituency than I do, actually. And then I started my career in public transportation, public transit, and ended it then. I'm sorry, let me say it this way. I started in public transit. I worked at Pierce Transit up in Tacoma for about 13 years, and then got this opportunity to move to the state capitol campus to be their utilities and infrastructure manager, which was great. I had a fabulous time there. So both of those jobs, I lived here in Olympia.
So you've done a lot of public service for your careers then, huh?
My whole career's been in local government.
Nice. And so what made you actually want to run for being mayor?
Oh, probably something I've always wanted to do is be involved in giving back to the community. It's a way that I felt that I could. I feel as though I've got a good background and a good understanding of how these things work, and so this was how I could contribute.
So since your background's in public transit, how would you kind of put a guidelines to what we need to do for the diesel fuel that got spilled in the harbor the other day?
Well, this is not something new or unique. We've seen spills like this time and again, and this particular case was a 92-foot yacht that went down. It was a steel-hulled yacht. I don't know why it sank. It had 1,200 gallons of diesel aboard. I don't really know the details of this. What I believe is that most of that fuel is still in the tanks. And what normally happens is that then they somehow float that boat, take the fuel off. But there was a spill for sure when it first went down. I was glad to see that our Department of Ecology responded pretty quickly with booms and absorbent materials. But I think that we need to make sure that boats have been inspected and have all of the safety features and leak-proof features that are required.
Okay. So what kind of policies do you want to try to implement once or if you're elected mayor?
So, as I mentioned, I've been involved in local government for a long time, and I'm really interested in economic development and improving the selection of jobs that are available in Olympia, the vibrancy of the community. But the truth is that as I go around and knock on doors and meet people, there's really just a couple things that people are concerned about and interested in and really want to see some movement on. And those are homelessness and the impacts of homelessness. There's a lot of negative impacts on our community right now. And then the other one is the cost of housing. It's just skyrocketing here in Olympia. So that's where my focus is in this campaign, and when I become mayor, that's where my focus will be. But I would love to get to these other issues about economic development and job creation.
Yeah. So what kind of programs do you want to use to create jobs? Like what ideas do you have to actually, obviously everyone would love more and better paying jobs, but realistically bringing them here creates some type of development. And so have you thought of any plans to bring investors or current other companies into the community to benefit?
Well, I don't know that it's about bringing in some, angel investor that's going to solve our problems. I think there's a couple things. First of all, I think it has to do with workforce. I think that when you've got quality talent trained and ready to go, that's what's going to bring investors, is that they know that they can get the people they need from Olympia. And so I'm really excited about what's happening with workforce development, with our community colleges, and with our upper higher education. But I think we need to bolster that. It wasn't long ago that everybody thought you needed to get a 4-year degree in order to be successful in life, and I'd really like to expand our trades and our apprenticeship programs. I think there's excellent quality, really meaningful jobs in those areas, and so I'd like to see Olympia be a leader there. We need building trades in Olympia, and so I'd like to expand that. But beyond that, I think that Olympia has a real opportunity here in terms of economic development and jobs. We basically have put most of our eggs into either medical services or into state government jobs. And we need to diversify. And I think that the way to do that is to take a good hard look at what our assets are, who we have in town that are growing private sector businesses, and we need to help them. We need to help them grow, find the talent, and support them in growing our own and helping them expand.
So you mentioned homelessness and the impacts of that.
Absolutely.
And the impacts of that obviously are far-reaching with mental health and housing crisis. But it also affects people that aren't homeless, like people that go downtown for the nightlife and just daily shopping and whatnot, are kind of intimidated by it when there's a bunch of people all over the place that are asking for money and whatnot.
Yeah.
So what are your plans to help reduce the population in downtown of homelessness?
So a couple things. Let me start by saying that I think it's really important to define what we're talking about. And most people, when they talk about homelessness, they feel that downtown is kind of sketchy and there are behaviors and characters down there that make them feel uncomfortable, as you said. But there's another whole side of homelessness, and there is this rapidly growing population of people who are literally falling out the bottom of the economy, not able to provide just basic shelter and necessities. So Thurston County Public Schools say there's 1,700 homeless kids in K through 12. That's a huge number of children who don't have stability in their lives as they're trying to go through their developmental years. We're going to pay for that for years to come unless we can help those kids. So most of homelessness in Olympia and Thurston County is the result of eviction or displacement. People are being moved out of their homes for inability to pay or other reasons. The other major cause of homelessness is domestic abuse. People need to get out of their housing situation and don't have a place to land. So that's a significant piece of what needs to be addressed. And then there are the behavior concerns that you raised downtown. People are really, not just the retailers, but many people are concerned about what's happening in downtown. And by the way, people also see folks camping in the green belts behind their homes in the neighborhoods. It makes people feel very insecure. So we need to tackle these. I brought forward a 5-point plan to change Olympia's response to homelessness. And basically, it's about setting some really clear objectives and making sure that all of our service providers are pulling in the same direction, that we've established performance standards that we are monitoring with database decisions, and that I call it performance management. It's really pretty straightforward. I don't believe that we are nearly as effective or efficient as we need to be with the existing resources that we're putting into this. Back to the concerns people have about behaviors, law enforcement has a role here. We need to be able to make sure that people feel safe and secure in our downtown and it's a welcoming environment. Our law enforcement is challenged right now. In my opinion, they're under-resourced, and they also, we have a tough time moving through the court system. Our courts are so overloaded that they will only take cases that are absolutely clear-cut with all sorts of, the evidence needs to be pristine. And that's not bad to have high expectations, but it is definitely affecting our ability to enforce our own laws. So that was long-winded, but there's a lot there.
Oh, definitely. But we'll be right back